Okay, grade 11, we're doing functions with parameters now. Activity 5, number 1. Here it is. Now this is referring to the previous section over here where they wrote a function is valid, which takes a cell phone, tests to see if it's valid or not by checking the length and if the first character is a naught. But over here we've got to improve it so that we must make sure the phone number has digits 0 to 9 only. So here's the main program. They're going to give a student's cell phone number, a father's cell phone number, and a mother's. They're going to test all three. So in the test button we're going to call the function that we're going to write is called valid cell. No, is valid cell. Is valid cell with a string parameter. So it's our first function with a string parameter. So let's go and write the function heading. And you can see, okay, there's no function, there's no place, but you want to go and find where to put it. You can either go and put it up top here, or we can write it over here. So I'll write it over here just to show you can write it here. Function valid cell must receive a string, S cell, I'm making that up, string, and it's going to return a Boolean data type. Am I correct? Yes. Is valid cell. Is valid cell. Receives a string and returns a Boolean data type. So that's how you write a function that has one parameter. Obviously we know that we can write methods with more than one parameter. Highlighted, Control-Shift-C. So there it is. Function is valid cell. Now you must remember we're working with the cell number there, S cell, that's coming in here. Not with a global variable or anything, but with the parameter that's coming in. So we're checking that. And remember that's going to be a cell number. So we're going to say if S cell, we're checking to see if cell character number 1 is a naught. If cell S cell character number 1 is not equal to a naught, then result equals false. Immediately we will return this function. Okay, the function will return, and anything underneath it will not happen. But I'll put an else here. If it's the other thing we're worrying about, if the length of S cell is not equal to 10. If the length of S cell is not equal to 10, then result equals false. Else, I'm going to check another thing, and that is to make sure that every single character in the cell is a digit from 0 to 9. And I'm going to use a Boolean flag here, B var, B char, B none, colon Boolean. I can call my Boolean flag anything. I'm going to say B num. We're going to assume that let's just say B num. We set it to true, but if we find one digit in the cell number, remember S cell is a string, we find one digit that's not a number from 0 to 9, then we're going to set our Boolean flag to false. So we set it to true to start off with, and then we're going to use a for loop to go from every single character of S cell 1 to length of S cell. Remember the cell number that's coming in there. And then we're going to do inside this for loop, we're going to check if S cell character number K, if it's not S cell character number K in the set of 0 dot dot 9. Now these are digits, but in single inverted commas. Why? Because S cell is a string, And if there's any numbers, anything that's in SL that's not in this set, take note how I write the not. I use not, and then in brackets I put SL in. Then we will set bnum equal to false. Straight off. Set it to true, but if there's just one, then bnum is going to be false. We don't do else bnum equals true, no. But at the end of this for loop, if bnum is still true, okay, then we'll say result equals true, which means the end of that function, else result equals false. Now this is a nested if statements here. Can you see how we've got nested if statements happening? So we're checking to see if this first character, if it's not a 0 in inverted commas, then we're going to basically end this function. Else, if it is a 0, then we're going to check the length. If the length is not equal to 10, then we're going to end the function. Else, then we're going to go do something else. We're going to go and check for every character. So this part is checking for every character. Else, begin and end. How do we check for every single character, see if they're in the digits? Well, we get a Boolean flag, make it a true, and then we go from 1 to the length of SL, and if the character is not in the 0 to 9 range, then we'll set our Boolean flag to false. And after this loop has gone through every single character, over here we quote if bnum is equal to true still, you know, after the for loop has gone through everyone, we still got bnum equal to true because we didn't find anyone that was not in 0 to 9. Then we say result equals true, that's the end of the function, else the result equals false. So there's the function written. Right, now we're going to use the function in our button click event. We've written the function, but we have not used it yet. We've written the function is valid, so we haven't used it, so nothing's going to happen. There's no functionality because we haven't called it, but we've got to call it for every single EDT student, EDT father, and EDT mother. We've got to call it, okay, for each one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the following. Let's see. When the person is a character other than digit, maybe type. Right, so we're going to call each, that function is valid cell, and then we're going to make a message. If it's not, write a message. Otherwise we will write that all 3 phone numbers are valid. So basically we're doing this code now. So is valid cell, is valid cell. We're going to call is valid cell. If is valid cell, open brackets, we're in the button click event, okay, the test button. Let's go and check if is valid cell EDT student dot text. If is valid cell, if that equals false, then we're going to display in the rich edit that student cell number is false. Already out, dot lines, dot add, student cell number is invalid. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and if it is valid, then we'll say yeah, is invalid, is invalid, and we'll do the same for all the other edit boxes. Testing each edit box. If is valid cell, we're calling this is valid cell. Remember, it turns true or false there. And this one is going to be the father, and that is the mother, EDT father. Then we say father cell number is invalid, and then we'll do the same for the mother, EDT mother, and then mother cell third is invalid. Now, what if they're all valid? Well, we're going to say if that equals true, equals true, and then also the next one, EDT father, EDT mother, and all of those things. Then we're going to display in the Richard already out dot lines dot add all numbers are valid, and that's it. Take note how we used the function isValidCell with a string parameter. Right, I will see you next week.